Check, 1, 2, check. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm and cordial welcome to this auspicious gathering where we unite to commemorate the visionary of IBAT, the vanguard for tomorrow's innovative thinking. Presenting to you iTALK 2nd edition 2023, jointly organized by the Department of Commerce, Mahimanapal, and IBAT. IBAT isn't just a typical think tank. It's a dynamic force that concludes extensive research and also engages in advocacy on subjects spanning the realms of management, both in general and its specific aspects like the social policy, economics, geopolitics, technology, and culture. This remarkable organization is dedicated to addressing the issues that have substantial importance and impact in our society today, both at home in India and also in the global arena. Allow me to introduce to you all the host, Department of Commerce, Mahimanapal. Department of Commerce is a dynamic hub of knowledge and expertise where academic rigor meets real-world applications. It also is leading in shaping future leaders of commerce and industry. Department of Commerce, Manipal Academy of Higher Education has courses to offer in BBA, BCom, MSc, MCom, MA, and PGD in Logistics and Supply Chain Management. Department of Commerce was established in the year 2007 with the launch of its flagship undergraduate business program specializing in banking and finance. The department subsequently introduced more innovative undergrad business programs as well. At DOC, students are prepared for advanced degrees in India and abroad. Well, the core areas include banking, insurance, and analytics as well. Collaborations include an LOI with SEMA, UK partnerships with MAGE Bangalore and NSC Mumbai, and the potential exchanges with global universities. Well, that's a brief about the Department of Commerce. This morning, we've gathered here to introduce to you iTALK, a project that springs from the very core of IBAT's predominant mission. iTALK is a community-driven effort aimed at bringing IBAT's enlightenment ideas to the hearts and minds of the local communities throughout India. It's about sharing impactful ideas, sparkling meaningful discussions, and also creating a wave of positive change. We hope that you find today's event as engaging, thought-provoking, and inspiring as it is always. As we explore the potential of iTALK, let us invite you all into this brightening and enlightening journey. We welcome you all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's both an honor and privilege to introduce the distinguished inaugurator of this event, Commander Dr. Anand Lana. Sir has 30 years of experience in the industry and academics. Prior to his academic services, he served as a commander in engineering branch of the Indian Navy in various services. He's also had a PhD in reliability engineering from IIT Mumbai and MTech from IIT Delhi. Post his naval services, he served as an associate dean research and professor mechanical engineering in Featuring National University, Fiji Islands for 5 years, followed by dean academics and professor in symbiosis skills in Open University, Pune. He was the Dean Faculty of Manufacturing Skills and Dean Academics in BSTU Jaipur before taking over as the Vice Chancellor of Oriental University Indore in the year February 2021. Sir has a long list of publications in international and national journals that includes various book chapters in Springer publications. Welcome you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure and deep respect that I introduce to you the esteemed president of IBAT, CA Rajaram Shetti. Sir is a distinguished chartered accountant based in Udupi. In addition to his expertise in accountancy, he holds a degree in law. With a rich experience spanning 3 decades in the field of chartered accountancy, Mr. Shetty's contribution to the profession have been very significant. He has served as the chairman of the local chapter of the South Indian Region Council of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, further cementing his leadership in this field as well. Beyond his professional pursuits, Mr. Shetti has deeply involved in the realm of education. He was former correspondent of Vidyavardhaka Sangha, an esteemed organization that oversees 8 educational institutions, encompassing both the first-grade colleges and schools as well. His multifaceted career showcases a blend of professional excellence and commitment to education. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's also my distinct pleasure to introduce to you a distinguished figure of multifaceted expertise, Dr. Sandeep Shenoy. Dr. Sandeep assumes 2 vital roles within this prestigious institution of MAHE. Sir is the Director Compliance at MAHE, and he also serves as the head of the Department of Commerce. He has been pivotal in driving the remarkable growth of the department, introducing new UG programs and PhD offerings as well. He has cultivated international ties, signing 14 MOUs with 20 universities worldwide, thereby enhancing the curriculum and broadening the student horizons as well. Recently, he spearheaded the creation of 6 centers that focused on comprehensive education and research. His collaboration with ACCA and CIMA have led to the UG program accreditations too. Partnerships with CII Institute of Logistics and TS have further diversified in our department's academic spectrum. So it's a pleasure to have you with us. It's my privilege to introduce one of the esteemed curators of our event, Mr. Vittal Kamath, former BD Europe and Emerging Markets, Mahindra Engineering. As a curator, Mr. Vittal Kamath plays a pivotal role in shaping the content, themes, and overall direction of this event. Mr. Kamath is a seasoned entrepreneur and technocrat with a distinguished academic background. He holds a bachelor degree in biomedical engineering from MIT Manipal and master's degree in ergonomics from Ohio University. With a wealth of experience, he has previously served as the Business Development Head of Europe and Emerging Markets at Mahindra Engineering. So it's a pleasure to have you with us today. We extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to Mr. U. Prasad Rao, who graciously joins us as one of the esteemed curators for the events. We welcome you, sir. It's now time to welcome the exciting lineup of 8 extraordinary speakers, each representing the unique insights and expertise in 8 different topics, and all within the compact of engaging 8 minutes time. We have with us Dr. Prabhakar Joshi, scholar, performer, and critic, a Kannada Rajyotsava awardee. Dr. Rahul Magazine Professor and Head Department Respiratory Medicine, KMC Manipal Mahe. Dr. Manish Tom, Chief Executive Officer, Thomas Manipal Government of Karnataka Bio Incubator. Dr. Navit Ganesh, MGN Fellow, MSTE, Government of India, Public Policy at IIM Bangalore and alumnus, MIT Manipal. Dr. Rachna Bhatt, Assistant Professor, Emergency Medicine, KMC Manipal Mahe. Mr. Sripati Ranga, Research Scholar, MIT Manipal Mahe. Mr. Venu Madhav Bhatt, Theatre and Cine Artist, alumnus, MIC Manipal Mahe. We acknowledge the presence of Dr. Kiran Kumar Vedivas Acharya, Professor, Department of Orthopedics at KMC, and Dr. Jairaj, HOD, Emergency Medicine. So they'll be joining us shortly. Right. As we prepare to commence our proceedings today, we begin with a moment of solemn reflection. Before that, let us give a warm round of welcome to our organizing team that composes of Dr. Dasharath K. Shetti, Dr. Vikram Balaga, Dr. Ambigai, and Dr. Rita Rani Chopra. It's time to now move towards the spiritual connection through invocation prayer song, and I request Ms. Chaitra, and Ms. Ritisha to lead us through. Can we all rise up to our feet even as we seek the invocation together?
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां मुदाकरात् मोदकं सदा विमुक्तिसाधकं कलाधरावतंसकं विलासिलोकरक्षकम् अनायकैकनायकं विलासिते बदैत्यकं नताशुभाशुनाशकं नमामि तं विनायकं जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश रक्ष मां.
Thank you, Ms. Chaitra and Ms. Ratisha, for the beautiful render. I'm pleased to invite Dr. Sandeep Shenoy, Director of Compliance at MAHE and the Head of the Department of Commerce, to deliver his welcome address.
Very good morning to all of you. Good morning. Yes. Dignitaries who are going to inaugurate this function, dignitaries who are going to speak during this event, and faculties, invitees, students, all those who are present here. Very good morning to all of you. The organizing committee this year has come up with a very diverse kind of setup of speakers, where we have speakers coming from different backgrounds who are going to enlighten their experiences, their learnings to all of you. And it is definitely going to be a very informative, entertaining, and something which will give you a chance to think about certain things which you may probably have never thought about it. Many times in our routine life, we focus on our disciplines, what we have come to study for, and we ignore certain areas which probably would interest us and would definitely make us a better or holistic personality. But we typically ignore those topics, and we focus morely on the discipline. We start working in silos. So typically this particular kind of activity we are actually organizing to break this silo so that people work on interdisciplinary areas. And that is something which even the National Education Policy talks about, and even MAHE advocates it to a large extent. So keeping that in mind, Department of Commerce and IBAT partnered in organizing this activity. And we have this wonderful location where we are organizing it. I am sure you will enjoy the entire show. So let me begin with, we have with us Commander Dr. Anil Rana, the Director of MIT, to inaugurate this function. And I'm happy to say that even the first edition of this particular iTALK was also inaugurated by him. So we have the pleasure of having him again here. So I welcome you, sir. I request Dr. Dashrath to hand over a bouquet to him as a welcome gesture. We have with us CA Shetti, President IBAT, who is partnering with us in organizing this event. So I welcome you, sir, to this function. We have a very, I would say, elite personality here, Dr. Prabhakar Joshi, who is a Karnataka Rajyotsav awardee. He's a scholar, performer, and a critic. So it's a privilege to have him here at this forum to talk to all of you. I request Dashrath Shetti to welcome him with a bouquet. We have Dr. Rahul Magazine from KMC Manipal, Professor and Head of Department of Respiratory Medicine, who is going to talk about a book which is very, very innovative, very, very different. I request Dr. Dashrath to hand over a welcome bouquet to Dr. Magazine. We have with us Dr. Manesh Thomas, Chief Executive Officer, Manipal Government of Karnataka Bioincubator. I request Dashrath to welcome him with a bouquet. Next is Mr. Navit Ganesh, MGN Fellow, MSD, who is working the Government of India project Request Dashrath to hand over a bouquet. Dr. Rachana Bhatt, Assistant Professor, Emergency Medicine, KMC Manipal. I request Dashrath to welcome her with a bouquet. Mr. Sripati R. Bhatt, Research Scholar, MIT Manipal, who is going to talk on something different, which is going to be very entertaining. And of course, we have with us theatre and sign artist, Mr. Venu Madhav Bhatt, who is going to entertain us with some of his comics. Mr. Vittal Kamath, former BD Europe and Emerging Markets, Mahindra Engineering, who is going to curate the sessions. And Mr. S. Prasad Rao, Channel U, Udupi, who is telecasting this program. Of course, I welcome all the members of the organizing committee and also all the students who are present here, the faculties. I also request Dashrath to hand over a bouquet to Jairaj, Professor Jairaj from KMC Manipal. So with these few words, I welcome all of you to this event, iTALK, and I'm sure the program will be very, very entertaining, informative, and a good experience for all of you. And of course, always, anytime you can share with us the feedback so that we can go on improving it in years to come. So have a nice day, have a nice time during the next 2 hours. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insights and words of welcome with our esteemed audiences. I request Dr. K. Dashrath to extend a floral welcome to sir. Thank you, sir. It's now time to turn our attention to the visionary leader of IBAT, CA Rajaram Shetti, who will provide us an insightful briefing of this remarkable organization. Under his guidance, IBAT continues to be a beacon of intellectual excellence and a platform for driving transformative change. Let us extend a warm welcome to CA Rajaram Shetti.
Inaugurator of today's function, Dr. Rana, keynote speaker, Dr. Prabhakar Joshi, all speakers of this morning, and invited guests, and my dear students. I will not talk much about anything else other than this organization, IBAT. It's an institute of bureaucrats and technocrats. Institute of Bureaucrats and Technocrats. Why we have formed this institute is that those students, when they seek education and when they decide to select careers, they should have proper information regarding the career progress. So this career progress, of course, it differs from person to person. It depends upon one's liking. And you need not think that we are giving you some advice, because you know a saying, giving advice and lending money, if it is requested, then only you should do that. Otherwise, we should not do that, because nobody will listen to you and they may not like also. And that's why we normally should not go for giving advice. However, in the interest of the upcoming students, they should know what is going on around, they should know which career they should select and all that. And for that purpose, they should have first-hand information from this HU's mouth. So it is not online program, it is offline program, 1:1. And therefore, if you listen to those people who are outside in their profession, who are outside in their activities and all that, and who have excelled in almost all the fields, and that's why we have selected the speakers from different fields. So we got professors, we got doctors, medicine, and education academicians, and all that. And we got the today's keynote address speaker, and I will not talk about him because you will hear from his mouth. And I think that I should not waste time further of people like Dr. Rana and other professional people. I thank all of you for having gathered here. Only one thing is that students, they can select their careers and depending upon the environment and the situation. So, in fact, I was interested in joining army, and everything was done. I served. I was a cadet ACC for 3 years, NCC Junior Division for 2 years, and Senior Division for 2 years. And I was selected along with one more my friend in the annual training camp OT Officers Training Unit. Now it's I think Academy, and selected up to the last stage. But finally, medical problem, I was not selected. My friend also, I think, in final interview, and he happens to be Mr. Jayaram Nayan Kamath, father of our speakers, one of the speakers today, curators today. So my father said, what you are going to do? I said, now second chances or the profession I want to take up is teaching, because I was liking teachers doing teaching and listening also. And one of my professors, Dr. Paris, he was telling, Mr. Shetti, students like you, if they are in the class, when we enter the class, we think that we are going to conquer something. And when we come out of the class, we think that we have conquered. And therefore, I said, I am interested in teaching. I want to go for post-graduation, that is from BCom to MCom. My father said, okay, you do that, but I suggest you, because he was a government diploma in accountancy and accounts officer in some foreign concern, and he said, you select your career teaching, but if you go for CA, then you can do both, teaching as well as practicing chartered accountants. And I said, yes, I joined this for CA course, and then my college professor, head of the department, invited me for teaching assignment also. So I pursued both teaching and practicing as a chartered accountant. And that's why now I am here as a chartered accountant teaching. Now I have retired from teaching. Yes. Okay, with this, I will not waste much of time. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, CA Rajaram Shetti, for that inspiring story. As we continue with our event, we're honored to have with this commander, Dr. Anil Rana, for a very special moment. And sir, we will require you to come forward for the traditional lighting of the lamp, symbolizing the dispelling of darkness and the illumination of knowledge. I request Dr. Sandeepa Shenoy, CA Rajaram Shetti, Dr. K. Dasharath to join us as well to do the honors. Can we have Pranita to assist us in this process? Thank you. I request all speakers, organizing committee members, and curators to come forward for a group photograph. All the speakers, organizing committee members, curators, kindly come forward for a group photograph. Yes. Can we have organizers from the Department of Commerce joining us as well? Thank you. We really wanted to capture this moment. Thank you. Commander Dr. Anil Rana, we kindly invite you to the podium to deliver your inaugural address and share your valuable insights with our esteemed audience. Please join us in welcoming him with a warm round of applause.
Thank you so much. A very good morning to all those who are present here today. It's a pleasure for me to be here on the second edition of iTALK. iTALK is something I do a lot at MIT. In fact, only yesterday we had 3 conferences running in parallel, so I was there for an inaugural address, and for the second one, there was a valedictory one, so sometimes I forget which is which, and it can lead to some confusion. But firstly, let me start with complimenting the Department of Commerce and IBAT to have organized this particular event. It provides a platform for all of us to come together, exchange ideas, information, knowledge on relevant topics from diverse domains. So that is why it is important. Also, when I looked at the pamphlet that was given to me, and I couldn't help but notice that every speaker had some title of the talk, except me. It just said inaugural address. So I had the freedom to choose what I can talk about, though I was told that I can talk about leadership, how it is changing, and my experience from in the armed forces to where I am today. So I'm just going to keep short about the armed forces because that is something which is a given, it is known. Your respect, your honor flows from your stripe. You're trained in the academy. The people know how to obey your command, and therefore there's no confusion. The processes are laid, strictly followed, and if some deviation happens, there are laid out regulations for it. However, in the civil world, it is not so. It is not organized that very well. So I had one experience where during the naval service, we were told to take over a civil organization. It was a dockyard which used to repair the naval ships and submarines in Mumbai. And all the 11,000 plus workers were actually under the state government, and they had the true trade unions and things like that. And they wouldn't recognize anybody in uniform or outside uniform. To them, everybody was same. It was a difficult thing because we were never trained to get people outside the uniform to work like they work in the defense. So that was a big challenge, and the only help we could get from our admiral those days was a shrug of the shoulder. When we asked him, sir, how do we handle this? He said, I don't know. You go ahead and make sure that the productivity is there. The ships who come for repairs, maintenance are turned around quickly. And I don't want to hear any complaint. Nothing should go in the newspapers, because things used to go to the papers or the media, especially when the trade unions went for a strike. Anyway, so we had a good experience there. I had a very good experience of about 4 to 5 years. So let's talk about the academic world as to what is changing, and there are some leadership challenges. So that is what my topic is. It's about leadership challenges in education now. The first point, I just scribbled something on my diary, so here I can talk about fast pace of changes in technology. Now this is a reality. And the questions we ask in the Education Institute today is, how are we preparing our students for this fast-paced changes that is happening, especially in the technology world? So we have this IIoT, Industry 4.0, now talking about 5.0. We have this 5G, beyond 5G. When we talk about computing, it was cloud computing. Most of your industrial automation, robotic systems were working on that. Suddenly things are changing. You have 5G and beyond 5G communications coming in. Computing have become edge computing. So what you taught to the students 3 years ago is changed now. So are they prepared for that? There is a requirement now to train the students to learn for life. And how do you do that? Because the students also are very different from when we were students. And the best part I liked when I was a student was nothing was changing. So what was taught 30 years ago was taught to me and still continued. So the books didn't change, the course material didn't change, the question papers changed a bit here and there, but mostly remained the same. So nothing was changing. It was good. And you done your BTech, you said, I'm done, I'm now a graduate now, everything, studies finished. But now it's not like that, it's changing. So how do we prepare these students for this fast-paced changes? So what we're doing, at least at MIT, and most of the good institutes are doing worldwide and also in India, is that bringing industry inputs to the curriculum. And the way you do this is not only the board of studies or the academic council, but you need to have some platform to get the industry experts in your curriculum. So how do you do that? Industry advisory committee is one way to go about it. So industry advisory committees have industry experts, and from each domain, and you sit together with HOD, you exchange ideas, they tell you what is redundant, what new has to be coming in. There are a lot of softwares coming now. Softwares have become tools to analyze problems, to speed up the solution. But there is a danger too. The danger is students these days in education institutes have become more and more reliant on these softwares. Therefore, missing the importance of the fundamental knowledge that is required, which forms the backbone of that particular concept. And that needs to be realized, and which is not happening. But at the same time, students can challenge you with the solution. Sometimes they are able to get to the correct solution through the software much faster than you can. The problem is, how do you rely on that solution which is coming out from software if you do not validate it? So therefore, it is becoming very, very important for the educators also to see that the students understand the fundamental concept. At the same time, are prepared to work through these softwares, because that is what they will do in the industry. Nobody is going to ask them the fundamental theorems anymore. They want the solutions to be provided through the software. So that has become very, very important. There are new technologies coming. One way I said IACs, the second is industrial collaboration. So at MIT, at least what we are looking at all the electrical vehicle technology, center of excellence on cybersecurity, especially IoT cybersecurity. We are looking at semiconductor fabrication facilities. We are tied up with Semiconductor Lab Chandigarh. We are looking at cyber physical systems. So all these centers are now coming up in collaboration with the industry, so that the industry representatives are always present. They gave us some research projects in which the students are involved directly, either through internship or just as doing minor projects, regular projects in that particular department through the collaboration with the industry. That is the way forward for us. so that we can ensure that the students are prepared for tomorrow. Other good thing about MIT is that we have these minor projects and major projects, especially Textila. We have this lot of clubs, about 70 odd clubs, half of them non-technical, but the other half technical, which are mostly student bodies or professional societies. And the major projects about 22 plus, where MIT invests about 2.5 crores every year. And a lot of other funds come in through sponsorship, allowing students to work on real world problems, to come together in groups from different domains. So you can have computer science students coming from mechanical, electrical, coming together to form a product or to work through or fight a real world problem, a real world challenge. Changing aspiration of youngsters. So this is another reality. So we were very happy when we were youngsters. If you did graduation, you know that you'll go for a job, but not anymore. Students want something more, something extra. There are some who are looking for good pay package. So this was like one of the interviews that I had with a student who was supposed to join and looking for taking admission at MIT. And the first question the student asked me is, how is the placement? What kind of salary I can get from the computer science program? So this is a reality. You can laugh about it, but it is something which is a truth. At the same time, we have seen that the core engineering programs are losing their shine. More and more students want the computer science programs. They want to go there because they know you get very good, handsome pay packages later. I have a scenario some time ago, the core engineering program, the students were made to sit through the placement interview, and they purposely, on purpose, did not do well. So that they're not picked up by this core engineering program. They're looking for something more. They're looking to join consulting, is not looking to join any of the core mechanical industry, but wants to do or wants to work in the area of the software. So these changing aspirations are there, and we are guiding students, telling them as to the growth in the core engineering programs are much more stable and much more faster. People who join a particular company only looking at a handsome pay package get burnt out very, very fast. And we can see the examples. All these people with very good packages don't continue in the same industry for more than 2 years. That's a fact. Increased push towards ranking and accreditation. Now, this is another reality. All the education institutions now are worried about ranking and worried about accreditation. They can measure how the placements are working, what kind of salaries you're getting, how many paper publications are happening, how many patents are being filed. But who is measuring the quality of knowledge that you are imparting inside the classroom? Nobody. One, because it's very difficult. Two, if you can't measure it, then you cannot control it and you cannot monitor it. And that has taken a backseat. And that's a reality again. More and more lecturers are imparting knowledge through PowerPoint presentation, button click. Nobody is explaining the concepts anymore. They are more worried about some paper that has to be written every year, at least 2, maybe 4. Then I get my next promotion. I can get a good PMS point. So the quality of education is suffering. There is some argument here that there is a feedback mechanism. The feedback is you don't teach properly in class, the student doesn't learn, he goes to the industry, the feedback is not good, you will lose points that you get in maybe NRF ranking. Yes, that can happen, but that feedback route is very long. By the time you start realizing the impact of poor knowledge dissemination in the classroom, it's already too late. Generations of students would go without learning much. Again, at the academic institutions such as MIT and MAHE, large institutions, we need to understand that the quality of education or the ranking or the reputation of the education institution is not built on good buildings or lab facilities. Human resource, that is important. Unless you have a good teacher in the classroom, you may not get a good reputation later. So this reality has to come. Therefore, the HR management becomes very, very important. We are talking about democratization of the academic institutes. Every decision that you make, whether it is about PMS, whether it is about new promotion policy, it has to be discussed with the senior people in the department so that everybody has got a say. You need to bring or you need to build a team which trusts the leader and the system. And that has become very important again. You cannot rule by stick anymore, because this is not a corporate world or not an industry. It's an education institution where everybody has respect, they have dignity, and they are learned people. And the respect that comes mutually between the leader or the management and the faculty is something which is very, very important. Unless that relationship is strong, you may have problems. So what do we do? How do we manage the education institutions? We just go to the basics of management, and these are very simple. Carry out a SWOT analysis. That is what I did when I first got exposed to an academic institution outside the country, luckily for me. Draw out a short and long-term plan. Map out the resources. It's very, very important for the leaders to realize that you need to ask for resources if it is required. Sometime I see people shy out from asking. I have been told many times that you demand too much, but that's what is required. And you need to plan out very well. You need to show why the resources are required, and these kind of resources, what would be the outcome 5 years, 10 years down the line. If you are able to convince your management you have done your job. So that is required, and this comes from the basics of management principles. Draw out milestones and monitor progress, and then use feedback analysis to do timely course correction. Across every year we go in for ranking, and we have this ranking announcements, and sometimes you go up, sometimes you go down. We need to go down into the reasons and find out what are the factors which are very, very important, where you need to stress more, what kind of resources will be required for that. Can I balance this resource requirement something more where I can generate more benefit? I think this kind of analysis is required in academic institution today. I'm very happy. I don't know whether I have crossed my limit, but thank you so much for inviting me for this inaugural address. It was such a pleasure to be here. I may have some time to sit for a few more talks, but after that I'll have to go for some other appointment. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your openness and sharing very valuable insights. In fact, I think the audience will agree with me that was a lot of insightful talk, right? Can we give him a round of applause again? Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you with us today. I invite our curator, Mr. Vittal Kamath, to introduce to us all our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Prabhakar Joshi. Can we welcome sir with a round of applause?
Before I curate and invite the concerned to the podium, I would just like to take 1 minute to talk about some of my experiences here. This is the second edition of iTALK. So something happened before the first edition of iTALK last time, something happened during, and something happened afterwards. And the cycle is going to repeat. This is the second edition of iTALK. Now what happened before iTALK was life happened. Life happened for all the 12 individual souls that came here, and they shared something with us. When iTALK is happening, there is one thing I do, that is I listen. And I hope you listen. This is to all the youngsters over here. Please, please listen carefully, because 8 souls have come here. They have had a wealth of experience behind them, and nuggets of wisdom are going to be shared today. If you listen to it, you will come out on the other side ready to face life. Yesterday, I had an interesting talk with Dr. Sripati Ranga. I come here only for 2 reasons. Because of the respect that I have for each and every individual in the organizing committee, and I'm a kid in a candy store when I'm here, because all the people that come here, I learn something from them. And we were discussing yesterday, the 2 of us, nobody crosses the same river twice, the same way, because the person is not the same and the river is not the same. In the last edition of iTALK, and this is the second edition of iTALK, I stand enriched and enlightened, and I'm very sure that after this session concludes today and the 3rd edition starts, I'm going to be a different person then. So will be everybody over here. So that was something that I just needed to bring to the table. Everybody awake? Everybody gonna listen? Okay, let me start the iTALK session now. The first speaker today is going to be Dr. M. Prabhakar Joshi. He is a well-known person of varied interests and achievements. He is a teacher, an artist, a writer, a columnist, a consultant, and an organizer, just to name a few. He is mainly recognized as a leading performer, critic, researcher, and activist in Yakshagana, with an involvement of over 6 decades. He holds M.Com Hindi Sahitya Ratna Prayag and PhD in Yakshagana from Mangalore University. Languages: he speaks Kannada, English, Marathi, Tulu, Konkani, and Sanskrit, just to name a few. He had his early initiation in Yakshagana from his grandfather, Guru Aniruddha Bhatt, and the village elders, and later had opportunities to interact with greats of Yakshagana. And this has resulted into a lifelong passion. Dr. Joshi started Artha Garige at the age of 9 and has performed at various levels continuously since, making him the leading exponent of Talamadale. He is capable of handling different roles with equal command. A literary flair, excellent conversational skills, wit, creativity, liveliness, coordinated structure, and a high degree of depiction to the satisfaction of both audiences and critics. He is also considered to be a friend, a philosopher, a guide to his co-artists and associated organizations. He is honored with Karnataka Rajyotsava Award, Parthi Subba Award, Professor Kushi Award, Mahe New Year Honor, Alvas Nudhisiri Samman, Sahitya Parishad Award, Pejawar Ramavittala Puraskara, Kalaranga Award, and many more. His wife, Miss Sucheta Joshi, is a retired lecturer and a folklore researcher. His 2 daughters are settled in the USA. Sir, we are enlightened to have you here. Thank you so much. Please.
सर्वेभ्यो नमः। गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किमन्ये शास्त्र विस्तरे या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्मात् विनिसृता. I'll explain later. Respected Dr. Rana, Dr. Sandeep Shenoy, Shri Vittal Kamath, various experts, co-speakers, and my student friends. First of all, let me remind myself and remind you that we are all here as a part of my or Academy of General Education, AGE. All this is because of the great man who was born 125 years back. He lived Bhagavad Gita. He didn't speak about Bhagavad Gita. We speak about Bhagavad Gita because it is difficult, we know, to live like Bhagavad Gita. ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. I remember a quote from him. He would always say, what is Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is to be, to live, not to say. Bhagavad Gita mala kasale, te korche, ullochanai. Hope those people who know Konkani will understand. I am very happy to be here for this honor. I thank CA Dr. Rajaram Shetti, all the faculty members, Commerce Department, MAHE, and concerned, all associates and organizing group, because of 2 things. It is an honor to be a keynote speaker, and especially to be re-recognized as a man from Commerce Department, because I am more recognized as an artist. Many people don't know that I am a commerce lecturer in commerce. They think I am from languages or philosophy and all that. Of course, there is also a good experience. To take a bit of liberty You have called it iTALK. I won't talk much. Bhagavad Gita will talk. And say, I bat. Whatever may be its meaning. Today we have to bat well at Hyderabad. They too have to give a good challenge. Yes, that is how I bat. I don't bat, those 11 players will do that for me. To quote a famous story, there's a big beautiful tree. 4 people approached it. One said, this is very beautiful, like a dancing girl, like a Maharshi, like this one, that one. He was a poet. Next man came, you don't know anything. This has a lot of medicines, right from the top flowers to the roots. He was an Ayurvedic Pandit. Another man came and he said, the trunk of this could be carved into Mahavishnu, the center as Shiva, and the 6 branches into Shanmukha, and the crooked branch into Ganapati and all that. He was a Shilpi, sculptor. And the 4th man came, all of you 3 are stupid. You don't know. If I cut this, I will get 10,000 rupees now. He was a firewood seller. Are all these wrong? No. All of them are right in a way. And the 5th man came. This is my addition to the story. The 5th man came and said, however and from whatever angle I look at it, this teaches you a lot of lessons on management. This is how we look at things, whether it is a scripture, whether it is Bhagavad Gita, whether it is a signboard on the road, whether it is an advertisement, a torn piece of a newspaper in the evening. Daily newspaper is very precious in the morning. People fight for that. In the evening, it is falling down under your feet. You pick a piece from that, that will also give you so many lessons. Depends upon from what perspective you look at it. Often, drishti ante srishti. The srishti, the creation, unfolds to you as per your vision. Don't take this too much. Don't take anything too much. Don't take even the biodata seriously. They are sometimes misleading. Bhagavad Gita is one of the greatest, one of the most popular, most inclusive scriptures, text, philosophical, for life, Jivana Gita, Yoga Gita, Yuddha Gita, Santana Gita, Shanti Gita, whatever you call. Barrister Savarkar, Swatantra Savarkar called it Yuddha Gita, Gandhiji called it. It is basically a message of peace. So all depends upon how you look at things. But one thing is certain to repeat. We are all here to imbibe various knowledges, various branches of knowledge. As one of our speakers, Professor Rana and Shetti, and all told you, we should feel enriched, better when we go out of this hall after this seminar. Even myself, I should also learn something. I have not mastered Gita. I consult Bhagavad Gita here and there. At a moment of happiness, at a moment of stress, confusion, whatever it is. I'll place before you the context of Bhagavad Gita in a minute, all of you know. The warfield battle was set between Pandavas and Kauravas. Everything was ready, getting ready. Maybe most people who are not participant in the war and also participant were eagerly waiting, like all of us waiting to see what is happening in the various battles and wars. 2 major wars are going on. Yuddhasya Varta Ramya. The news of the war is always entertaining, but it has a lot of suffering in it. We should realize. Arjuna came. The great charioteer, Sarathi was Sri Krishna. He said, Senayor Upayor Madhye Ratham Stapayam Echyuta. Please place my chariot, your chariot also, in the middle of the battlefield, so that I can look at people who have come to fight with me. Yavadetan nirikshayam yodhukamanavastitan. Until that point, he was not confused. He was trying to get ready like a good manager who would like to see yodhukamanavastitan, who are all there here. Later, of course, lamentation starts. He feels he has to kill his own kith and kin, gurus, teachers, cause Varna Sankara, cause a holocaust in a way. Then Sri Krishna starts his Upadesha, teaching. It is totally 18 adhyayas. The number 18 has a special place in Mahabharata, 18 adhyayas of Bhagavad Gita, 18 days of war, and so on. We often say, we always have the Arjuna dilemma. Arjuna dilemma, to kill or not to kill. Hamlet had the dilemma, to be or not to be. You know, famous line. Often this happens. We say Thanksgiving Day. Today is Thanksgiving Day, Mahalaya Amavasya. We don't call it like that. We have all days. So I am happy that this seminar is being held on the Mahalaya Amavasya, Maha-alaya. The entire home of ancestors coming together, family life. And Navaratri begins. Navadurga. Navadurga Aradhana is nothing but management. Total lessons of management. You know an interesting factor about Navadurga. What is Navadurga? 9 forms of Goddess Devi. You can see them in the calendars, in the drawings, in the rangoli, in temples. But lazy people opt for another option. You don't have to go to temples to see the 9 forms of Durga. Be at home, go on watching your wife, mother and daughter. All 9 forms are visible, including the 3 angry forms. Navadurga manayale iddale. This is how we look at things. Sri Krishna starts his discourse in the next 17 adhyayas. In the middle there is a concept, what we call modern concept, a discussion. Arjuna asks question after questions. Sri Krishna, you say yoga is good, and you say Sankhya is good, you say karma is good. Tasmin karmanika mam niyojasi Keshava. You say sannyasa is great, this one is great. Then Krishna says everything is good in context. That's why we take Bhagavad Gita as a macro solution, a micromanagement, self-management, situation management. Mainly Bhagavad Gita is best known for inspiration and motivation, one of the major aspects of management. You have to be internally motivated and externally motivated to be a good manager. Well motivated is half done. Like we say, well brushed is half shaved. If you shave well, 50% of shaving work is done. There are a lot of quotes, and I tried. A souvenir editor asked me, write something different on Bhagavad Gita. Ade baribedi, another host bariri. So I said, I will write on management, thinking that it is for the first time on this earth that I am doing it. Later, when I completed the article and sent it, I saw in Wikipedia, this has been all done in a different way, of course. The way I look at it may be different. First of all, when Arjuna laments, this I have to kill people, there will be violence, I will be killing my relatives. Sri Krishna says, Kutasma kashvalavidam vishame samupastitam anarijushtamat akirtya karam Arjuna. Where from this defilement, this dust and dirt of mind has come to you at a wrong time? This is not the time. We want an immediate solution. We can't go on lamenting, thinking, like people say, when your child is sick, you can't say Gayatri Mantra will solve the problem. I will go to Sri Krishna temple. No, first go to KMC or any doctor. So, what solution at what time? Sri Krishna was very well aware. So he said, immediately you have to fight. The enemy is almost a terrorist, severe, strong enemy. This is one level. Enemy is bad, your cause is good. At a higher level, he said, the Adhyatmic philosophical message. Nobody kills anybody. Atma is avinashi, the soul is permanent. And we go on changing lives. This is at a higher level. So Sri Krishna was a practical man. That is why he had the flute, the lute, and the chakra, and the peacock feather all together. It's a complete man. In India's or in the world, mythological world. I don't call it a myth. He's a living myth even today. One of the greatest, maybe the most perplexing, the greatest man of all times. God, man, boy, a naughty boy, a lover, a brahmachari, all put together. The best scholars on Sri Krishna might not have unfolded even 5 to 10% of his greatness. When Sri Krishna asks Arjuna to fight, it was basically how to manage values, value management, getting inspired. Ultimately, it is you who are doing it for yourself, for protecting dharma also. So they say, Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grandhani naro parani. Death is like throwing away the old cloth and wearing new cloth. In management, we can also say this is applicable in a different way. We are loaded with old ideas. Acharya Rajneesh, Osho would always say, unload your brains, unload your homes. Your rooms are full of all sorts of garbage, stocks, this and that. Today you go home and see, depending upon the size and the age of the home, 15 to 45% of things there, or even 60% are obsolete. Unnecessary. You either got to pack them or throw them out. In your mind also we have got so many ideas which have become a load and a garbage. So Vasamsi Jirnani Yathavya, even management sign, what was true 10 years back may not be true today. It may be true in a different way. So we have to update, we have to renovate ourselves. In life our goal should be to excel, not to beat others, to excel, to beat, to surpass ourselves. Ashochanan vashochasvam, prajnavadam shabhashase. What is prajnavada? Prajnavada is one confusion, and another thinking that the whole world is on me. I am doing it. I am causing violence. I am doing this. I am killing. No. You are a part of it. Whole machine is working. You have to play your role honestly, sincerely, taking your responsibility, but don't think the world is sitting on your head. Prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasuna gasasumscha nanu shochanchi panditaha. What is bygone? Don't think too much about it. Remember it. Don't think too much about what cannot happen also. You can't stop the war now. Sukhina kshatriya partha labhante yuddhamidrisham. The kshatriyas, those kshatriyas are very happy. They are great, lucky to have this war. A manager should think like that. Crisis management is the management. Anybody can manage an institution, an organization, a business, corporate or non-corporate, whatever it is, at a happy and normal time. The test for a manager comes when there comes a crisis. And Kurukshetra was crisis management as well as solution. So, Sukhina Kshatriya Partha Labhante Yuddhamidrisham. Another interesting point, 11th Adhyaya, 11th section or chapter of Bhagavad Gita is volume wise in the middle of Bhagavad Gita, center, and it is Vishwarupa. Sri Krishna unfolds himself, has the whole world inside him, all gods, demons, worlds, all sorts of things inside him. That is to be adored, that is to be worshipped. So, by keeping the 11th Adhyaya as the Vishwarupa Adhyaya or Vibhuti Yoga, Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna as well as Mahakavi Vyasa suggest that the central message of Bhagavad Gita is adoring the world, worshipping life. Vishwarupa, it is the Vishwa that has to be worshipped. That is the most important thing we have to bear in mind. Also, a manager has to be ready to learn. Gita has two messages and many for that. Shishyasteham, Syadiman, Prapannam. I am your student. You can go to anybody, elder or smaller. Yadyat vibhutimat sattvam, Srimadurjitameva tattadevavagachatvam, mama shreyom cha sambhavam. Whatever is great, full of light, full of truth, full of message. Yadyat vibhutimat sattvam Srimadurjitameva, with special powers. That is all part of God. We are all, in a way, God, Advaita says. We are all lights, we are all bulbs. The voltage may be different. So don't hesitate to learn from your juniors, youngsters, ordinary man. There is a famous saying, there are 22 gurus in life, he says. From an ant to an elephant. He learned so many things, he says. So you should be prepared to learn. Finally, I think I have to conclude. Gautam Buddha said, Krishna also suggested, what is the lokopakara? Best thing you can do to your fellow human beings. What is the lokopakara? Service you can do. First thing is, upakara is not to do, upadra is a upakara. Not to harm. I will add another one. To conclude a speech is a great service. Bhashana nillisudu. Correcta? Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurudharaha. It's a beautiful. There are certain verses in Bhagavad Gita which cannot be written again. Like the Sindhu bull, the Chidambaram Nataraja, the Omkara, the Shivalinga. The most calm, smiling and meditating Buddha. These are the creations of Indian tradition which cannot be created again in any culture, including our culture. Like that, there are two shlokas with which I will conclude. One is, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. This is the answer to all the questions. Arjuna once asked, you said karma is good, jnana is Sankhya and yoga. Sankhya does not mean necessarily the Sankhya Darshana in Bhagavad Gita. It has different meanings in different places. I can explain if given more time, of course. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, the great Yogeshwara, the guide, jnani, theoretically perfect, knowing everything, but he doesn't fight. He guides. He is a charioteer. It's a beautiful message. Krishna himself was a great fighter, warrior, but he took Pandavas as his weapons. He was holding the chariot. Sarathi. He is the Sarathi of the world. He is the Sarathi of Pandavas. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. That Arjuna with a bow and arrow, one who is prepared to work, Karma Yoga, mere theory, sermonization, Upadesha is not enough. Practical knowledge is necessary. And ultimately, theory and practical are not different. A theory comes with practice, and practice imbibes theory. This we should know. We should not say this is a menial job, this is a manual job, this is a management job, this is middle management, this is top management. This is all temporary classification. No. Yogeshwara Krishna, Partho Dhanurdhara, they should work. Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Netir Matir Mama. Can't change one letter. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, the great theoretician, the yogi, Lord, God, inspirer, spirit, Paramatma, whatever you call it. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. The great Partha, an expert, he should be an expert. Can't depend upon God for everything. You yourself should have the expertise and then leave everything to God at last after you are doing your effort. Udyama sahasam dhairyam buddhi shakti parakramaha shadete yatra vartante tatra daivam prasadakarta. If you have these 6 things, efforts, then Lord will help you. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Netir Matir Mama. If these 2 are combined in your life, in your own self, in any institution, any system, Tatra Shri, there is sampattu, there is richness, wealth, there is victory, there is special power, and the morality and the policy, right policy lives there. That is why Bhagavad Gita is summarized in one shloka. Yata pravrittir bhutanam, I think 38th in the 38th shloka, if I am correct, in the 18th last chapter. It is more like a summary, sundry, like professors do in the end of the semester, February, March, rushing through. Krishna also wants to put in everything. Yata pravrittir bhutanam, yena sarvamidam tatam, swakarmana tamabhyarcha, siddhim mindati manava. No religious or non-religious person can object to this. This doesn't belong to any sectarian thinking. Yata pravrittir bhutanam. The thing that inspires the living and non-living, what is born, what is seen in the world, and what is coming in the future. Yatha pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam. By whom? Not only whom, by which one? Yena sarvamidam tatam. The power which inspires, moves this, by which the whole world is filled. Swakarmana tamabhyarcha. By your own effort, work, job, whatever you do as a teacher, as an agriculturist, as a laborer, student, whatever it is. Siddhim vindati manava. If you once think whatever I do is karma yoga, is worship, swakarmana tamabhyarcha, this is archana, then only you will get, then naturally you will and shall get siddhi. Hope I have not misused your time. I have learned a lot. Whether you have learned about anything about management or managerial thinking from Bhagavad Gita, tell me. If you have not learned, tell others. Thank you.
Wasn't that enlightening? I would request Dr. Sandeep Shane to give a memento to Dr. Joshi, please. So Dr. Joshi talked to us about history, something that happened 5,000 years ago. Our next speaker is also going to talk to us about history, but a different kind of history, something very recent. Our next speaker is Dr. Rahul Magazine. He is a distinguished professor in the Department of Respiratory Medicine. With a passion for education, he imparts knowledge to both MBBS and MD students. His expertise doesn't stop at teaching. He actively guides students, ensuring they receive the best mentorship during their academic journey. His commitment to medical education extends beyond the classroom. He plays a pivotal role at MAHE Simulation Center, where he is deeply involved in its programs. He is a certified instructor for the American Heart Association in both basic life support and advanced cardiac life support. He is an experienced researcher with more than 70 research papers to his credit, and also has an endoscopic maneuver named after him. He penned the book, "And the Valley Remained Silent, a Saga of Forsaken Aboriginals," which sheds light on the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of the refugees from Kashmir. As we welcome him to the stage, we are not only introducing a medical professional, but also a compassionate educator and a storyteller. Please join us in welcoming Dr. Rahul Magazine.
Thank you, Vittalji, for that introduction. There's a small part which was missed in that introduction, and that is something which I did not opt for or work for. It was, you can say, gifted to me in 1990, and that is that I am a refugee from Kashmir. It all started in 1990 when we had to leave our ancestral home, which had 18 rooms in it, 3-storied ancestral home, many attics. And overnight we were in Jammu, where we stayed in a single room without a kitchen or a toilet. So how we managed without that, I leave it to your imagination. So it's been 33 years and I have not gone back to Kashmir. Not that I cannot go, it's relatively okay now, but then I do get this question asked, because around 1.5 crore people have gone to Kashmir recently as tourists. So they ask me, why don't you go back? So my answer is, you can go back, you can go and enjoy that place as tourists, but how can I, a native, an aboriginal, go as a tourist to my own homeland? So now you must have understood the context, in which this book must have been written. So I would share with you why I wrote this book and what the book is really about. So it all started, there was a very interesting incident which happened. In 2019, I went to Kochi to attend a conference. And there is I don't know how many of you know, there's Asia's oldest synagogue there called Pardesi Synagogue. So I wanted to, I have seen all places of worship, mosques, churches, temples, but I've never been to a synagogue. So I thought I'll go there and, see the place. So as I went, I was walking through the lane, which was lined by, handicraft shops, which led up to the road led up to the synagogue. I could hear Kashmiri being spoken. My mother tongue is Kashmiri. So I could hear Kashmiri being spoken. So then I looked around, I could recognize these were Kashmiri boys, shopkeepers who were, actually 80% of the shops in that area. It's a Jewish town, and very interestingly, there's no Jew left there. They're all moved out. Some have gone to UK, US, Israel and all. But this all 80% of these shops are lined by Kashmiri boys. So as I was approaching the synagogue, on the right-hand side, there was a shop, a handicraft shop. So I saw a young lad there, 25 years old. So I approached him and I started talking to him in Kashmiri. So when you talk in your native language, there's immediately, there's a bonding. So I never met him before, so we started talking about, mundane things, how is business. So he told me many things about the business there. And as the conversation was going on, suddenly this young boy blurted out and said, you left Kashmir, you people left Kashmir because you left Kashmir at the behest of the then Governor Jagmohan, so that we could be targeted by the army later. So I was taken aback. I was not totally surprised because this is being told for last 3 decades. But what surprised me in this case was the conviction with which this young boy said those words. He really believed in what he said. He was born probably in 94, 95. We were forced to leave in 1990. So he was not witness to the events what happened. So then how did he get the information? Of course, it was passed on to him. And that's how, narratives can be passed on. And as Sir had just said, you look at a tree, one person will have one perspective, another person will have another perspective. Some will be false, some will be true. And some would be, probably the truth lies somewhere in between. So there and then I decided, I need to document the stories of these people, their trials, their sufferings. And that was the trigger for writing this book. So what is the book all about? So when I started off, it was to document their stories. COVID had happened, there was a lockdown. So I thought, okay, I have time, these guys have time. So our people are spread all around the world. They are in top positions, they are top doctors in US. One of our person was advisor to the Bush administration, Mr. Kashkari. So I contacted many of these people in US, in India, all over India also were spread out. So I took their stories, weaved them into a narrative and put them in order of time to create a story. So as I started this journey of writing this book, it was basically to tell about their sufferings and their trials. But as I wrote, I realized one important thing was not being told about their story. And even I had, kind of underplayed it, was the fact, the resilience of these people, despite the hardships they faced. So I'll share you, how, through anecdote. So as I was researching for this story, this book, so I got one story where one clerk who was working in Srinagar, he had a family of 6 people to support, elderly mother, 3 children, wife. So he was already on a meager salary, and circumstances forced him to leave behind everything he had and come to Jammu. Unlike us, who had a room, of course there was no toilet, but he was forced to live in a tent accommodation in a camp. And conditions there were horrid. We come from a temperate climate. We are not used to the tropical climate of the subcontinent. So it was very difficult. It was horrid conditions. Sanitation was bad, snake bites, all those things. On top of it, his mother got sick, so he had to get some money and put a pacemaker for him. Now that's not what I want to tell. What I want to tell is, this guy comes to my father-in-law, who is also a refugee but living in a rented accommodation, relatively decent, maybe 1 or 2 rooms. And this guy who's living in penury tells my father-in-law, see, my son is studying in a government school and the quality of teaching there is not good. So can you suggest some private tutor? My father-in-law was shocked. Here is a man who can't, it's difficult for him to, make 2 ends meet, and here he's bothered about giving private tuition to his kid. And do you know what, after 30 years, what that boy is doing? His son, that 10th fellow's son, he did his BTech, did his MTech, and he's a top management person in one of the multinational companies in Bombay. So that was one story. So this made me realize, more than the sufferings and the trials of these people, we should talk more about the resilience. And I think that is an inspiration for the younger generation. The another story is very close at hand. I was attending one talk in geopolitics here in Manipal, and I was introduced to a young Kashmiri lad whose entire family, all relatives were massacred in one of the massacres there. And he grew up in an orphanage. This guy did not pick up gun to take revenge for what had happened to him. Instead, he came here, did his master's. I don't know where he's gone now, but what these 2 stories tell us is that even though the persecutors of these people wanted to annihilate them, but these guys survived. They not only survived, they thrived. And the fact that they are thriving is a slap on the face of those terrorists. And what makes me proud of these people is that despite such persecution and, losing homes, their farms, their businesses, they never took to violence. It's a common myth, actually, these people busted that myth that, terrorism is a consequence of persecution. These people never took to violence as a response to persecution. Rather, they chose education as a response to the persecution they were facing, resulting in the fact that today they are thriving in this country. And for choosing the pen and shunning the gun, I'm really proud of these people. Thank you so much.
Might I request Dr. Sandeep Shenoy to please give the memento to our last speaker. It is so serendipitous that our first speaker talked about perspective and context from quoting the Gita. And the next speaker had to talk about history from the same perspective and context. See, history is always written by the aggressors. Today, we are lucky enough to have a book available to us where the author of the book is from the receiving end of something in history. I will highly recommend this book to all the youngsters. Please take a copy and try to learn as much as possible, because we need to learn what has happened. We should never forget what has happened, but we need to forgive at the same time. So kindly, if you can, please, the book is available outside. Let's move on to the next speaker, Dr. Manish Thomas. He is currently heading Manipal's Bio Incubator, a technology business incubator center at Mahe. Prior to this role, he was the head instrumentation and project coordinator of Sabli Technology and Business Incubator in Gujarat. His main activities are startup mentoring, policy making, consultation, administration, and running national and international programs to support startups, innovation, technology, development, and various sectors of healthcare, dental, diagnosis, biopharma, biotechnology, and the biomedical industry. Dr. Thomas is currently co-chair of the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Medical Device Committee for Startups. He served as a jury member of various grants to central and state governments. He leads outreach and promotional activities to inspire young innovators to form technology startups. He has 17 years of professional work experience with private, state, and central government organizations. He holds a PhD in microbiology and has many publications, books, chapters, and recognition. Dr. Thomas, please.
Thank you. First of all, I am thanking IBAT, Department of Commerce, and organizers of this iTALK. This is a wonderful opportunity I wish to interact with the young innovators of Manipal. So we are handling literally incubators, which is we consider as the labor room of innovators. Like labor room in the hospital, every innovator is having a delivery pain. So here, innovators will approach us. They want to deliver their technology. And in the hospital also we have an incubator. So same where this baby is nurtured. That is how a business incubator or a technology business incubator support in the nation building. To start with, we all are familiar with wide range of technology, right? From starting of our day, we start with the Hey Google, Hi Bixby, Hi Alexa, can you turn off my alarm, right? If you look into our hands, we have the mobiles, which is having lakhs of innovations and inventions in the hand. So we are leading, like Dr. Anil Rana mentioned, we are leading in an era where there is a drastic change in technologies is happened. If you want to lead as a leader in this technology, we have to cope up with innovation journey, either as an innovator, or an inventor, or a scientist who can discover something very novel. So if you look into Indian perspective, we are very far behind many countries in the technology innovation if we compare the last 5 decades. We have the policy reforms, policy innovation starting from the government sides to push higher education, development of the infrastructure, resources, facilities. If we currently look into the technology domain, 90% of our technologies are coming from the rich countries. And if we look into the Indian contribution, it may be less than 10 or 5%. Especially in some of the healthcare or biomedical, the 95% of the innovation is coming from the foreign. That is where the government realized to come up with policies and reforms to incorporate more infrastructure, facilities, and resources. As a part of, we developed in last 5 decades, we developed a lot of infrastructure, resources, and facilities. And the latest addition to that is the business incubators. Various business incubators across, for example, more than 800 plus incubators are there across India to support and handhold. My journey of innovation started with Department of Science and Technology, Government of Gujarat. And there, when we realized many of the academic and research organization is having a lot of innovations, a lot of patents, a lot of technologies which is developed inside house is not commercialized. So that time the policy discussion started from the grassroots, from the various stakeholders in academia, in research, in public sector, in private sector, in the government, and various consultants sit together and come up with the policy reforms that lead to the creation of technology business incubators. In 2000s, early 2000s, we had a couple of less than 10 incubators, and that transformation happened in almost at least one incubation hub in every state. So in Gujarat, I was fortunate enough to have the first technology business incubator of Government of Gujarat. I am the founding team of that one and heading and project coordinator. It was a partnership with the Government of India, especially DBT, and Government of Gujarat. So that journey realized that the real pain or the real delivery pain of an innovator. Nothing is available. If they want to deliver their technology, they require a facility to work on. Academic institutions and research organization has its own stringent rules, which if they deliver, their baby will be named and honored by, ownership will be gone to that organization. It will not belong to like this. The baby means I'm telling as a patent. So in 2009, the policy reforms comes from the government. Whoever is the innovator who want to develop a technology enterprise, the ownership will come to the owner of the inventor, not as the organization. That policy is implemented across the research organization, then academic institutions, all the private and public institutions. And here in Mahi also we implemented the same thing, and we built a good business incubation hub inside. In Manipal, we have 2 incubators, and here also I am fortunate, this is my second incubator which I am establishing. And in both of these incubators, we have a good round of facilities, resources, and service and supports to support these technology innovators. In last 10 years, we have received more than around 42 crores of funding to develop these facilities, infrastructure, and resources. So what is the exact role of these incubators? What is my vision of creating this incubator? When a person is having some sort of technology idea, he fears to reveal that to somebody, because everybody thinks that my idea or my technology is very novel and somebody will steal my idea, right? That fear is there. This is my innovation. In my lifetime, I can innovate one or twice. We are not Albert Einstein who can develop thousands of inventions. So one or two innovation or invention, if we are losing in our lifetime, we cannot do. So that fear is there, where to approach, whom to approach, what is the mechanism there, what is the support available, who will bear the cost, and who will provide the support. So that is the solution as a technology incubator comes. So if we design incubator in such a way that an innovator can just walk into the incubator and walk out with the technology or business enterprises. The innovator can be of 2 roles inside an incubator. First one is, we made a facilities and resources so that an innovator can deliver a technology. And they can spin off the technology and gain money, and which is going to solve the problems of millions of people. Second option is, if innovator is ready to take the risk and challenge, our incubator design is again supporting them into the entrepreneurship path. They can go beyond the technology development into commercialization. So our design is, it is open accessible, low cost, with full of resources, with full of support, with full of services, including the financial support to create the ventures. For example, Manipal, if you are aware, you can come to the Advanced Research Center. It is on the 1st and 3rd floor. We have 2 incubators there. MUTBI is there, Bioincubator is there. Both are having the same design and the same policies. So when you enter with your technology idea, we have the mentors to support you, to curate your idea, and to cope up with the latest technological updates which is available in the market. Once your idea is curated, we used to say this process is proof of principle. Scientifically, we will say we are going to develop XYZ product, and then the proof of concept will start. We will design and develop a product, process, or services. That is called the proof of concept, followed by the product validation. We will do a small set of group to test this product and validate this product and take the feedback and refine our product. That is early stage validation, then commercialization. If, for example, if you are looking into the medtech biotech and other regulated sectors, the journey is long. Everybody will be frustrated to launch their product after 15 years. Right, the delivery at 8 months or 9 months is painful, and how they can long for 15 years. So we align that sort of services again with the various set of fundings, starting from ideation funding up to 3.5 crores, 5 lakhs, then early stage proof of concept, validation, clinical trial, regulatory clearance, and even the facility development and establishment of the commercial facilities. The total grants and fundings we aligned in the incubator is around 30 crores. So in short, our concept is to encourage the youngsters to come forward to identify the problems. So if you ask this big crowd, how many of you identify a problem that you can solve with your technology, what you are studying? The hands will be very, if I ask to raise the hands will be very less. So I request everybody, urge everybody to utilize this Government of India effort to come up with a new technology innovation. Either you are going in your career path as an employee, or if you are going as a technology development, or if you are going as a commercialization. Without innovation, you cannot survive. The innovation is nothing. Looking into the grassroots problem of the grassroots reasons of the exact problem, fractionate it, analyze it, coming up with what all of the technology is available for that particular problem, and come up with some sort of incremental value to existing technology that everybody in this room can do. And I wish everybody of these innovators take at least one problem and come up with one technology innovations. That is all. Thank you. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Dr. Thomas. Can I request Dr. Sandeep Shenoy to please give our speaker a moment? Throughout my career, I have traveled all over the world, and I used to try to tell everybody, India is the next hub for innovation. And they used to ask me, what is so special about Indian innovation? And my reply invariably would be the same. Everybody innovates, but we do it frugally. Nobody can make a nano. Nobody in the world can make a nano. Only India can make a nano. Anybody can send anything to the moon, but we'll do it at the best possible way, at the most frugal way. So, thank you, Dr. Thomas, for all your efforts and the dedication of your efforts towards what India should be going forward. I am sure we will see the low-hanging fruit soon, and God's will, we will see the tree also. Thank you so much. Let's move on to our next distinguished speaker, Navit Ganesh. He is a Mahatma Gandhi National Fellow with Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India. He is an engineer by training from Manipal Institute of Technology and has pursued public policy and management from IIM Bangalore. His interests lie in education, skill development, entrepreneurship development, climate policy, geopolitics, and international relations, as well as technology policies. He has been confirmed with OMLAS Fellowship from NELIS Global in 2022 and has an unleashed global talent at the Global Innovation Lab in 2022 to solve for SDGs. He also has been on the Jagriti Yatra in 2019 and has been the Jagriti Ambassador for District Enterprise in 2020. Navneet enjoys volunteering for various causes on the weekends, mentoring student organizations, teaching in schools, and has been a Dan Utsav volunteer for 8 years now. Navneet, please.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you for the introduction, and it's always difficult to follow such illustrious speakers, and I'll do my best. Let's see how it goes. Can we just full screen this? Where's the full screen? Here it is, review. Full screen. Okay. So the G20, as we have come to know over the last many months, is a forum for economic cooperation. 19 countries and the European Union, as well as most recently the African Union, constitute this forum. And it has since expanded its purview to other aspects as well, including global trade, finance, labor, democracy, governance, climate, sustainability, etc. Why is G20 important, and what is the entire hullabaloo about the Delhi Declaration? I will take the next few minutes to sort of unpack that. The G20 is together has more than 2/3 of global population, constitutes more than 3/4 of global trade, and contributes to 85% of global GDP. It's also an important agenda setter for global order and has grown increasingly powerful since its first summit back in 2008. Now, the G20, unlike other multilateral forums, does not have a permanent headquarters or secretariat. In fact, every presidency is rotated every year, and it's supported by something called as the Troika. The Troika is a Russian cart that is pulled by 3 horses, and it's quite similar to the road track clubs or the Lions clubs that you have, where the immediate past president, the current president, and the president-elect work together. Similarly, the previous presidency, the current presidency, and the next presidency work together so that there's a smooth transition of power and knowledge and resources and tools, etc. Now, G20 started as a grouping for financial institutions, Reserve Bank governors or the central bank governors and finance ministers, but then it grew to the level, post-2008, the global economic crisis, it grew to the levels of heads of state. So the 3 tracks that are there are reflective of that. The first is the Sherpa track. The Sherpa is a Himalayan tour guide or a mountaineer guide for people who scale the Everest or climb the Himalayas, and these Sherpas are representatives of the heads of state, and they guide the G20 deliberations, and they represent the G20 delegations and the country in the G20 meetups. They look at everything from education, agriculture, digital economy, etc. There are more than 13 working groups under the Sherpa track and 4 initiatives that look at everything that the G20 has in its presidency's manifesto that year. Similarly, there's a finance track. The finance track largely has central bank governors and finance ministers, and they talk about financial inclusion, partnerships, building financial infrastructure, global financial infrastructure, etc. And the third and the most important, especially for us, for students and non-government participants, is the engagement groups. There are 11 engagement groups this year, the Youth 20, the Civil 20, the Urban 20, Startup 20, etc. And these are largely non-government participations and stakeholders that come together and give policy recommendations and their thoughts, take their thoughts to the G20 presidency and the secretariat through the communication position papers and say what the ask from the ground is, what the ask from the industries are, what the ask from the cities are, what the ask from the youth is, etc. Now, each of these working groups further down have more engagement groups and working groups to facilitate greater consultations and organize a truly decentralized policy making process that goes down to the grassroots, and then all this adds up to the final declaration that happened in Delhi not long ago. Okay, now the G20 presidency this year brought a lot of attention and excitement towards India, and it's natural anyway, because every time India takes up a leadership position in the multilateral forums, we do something differently, we do something innovatively. And through this year has been marked by a lot of outreach activities, consultation workshops, and another unique activity called as a Jan Bhagidari, which saw the G20 process, which were previously limited to metro cities and urban centers, and taken to different communities and different cities across the country. Over 60 cities had G20 working or side events, and that's probably the highest in any presidency so far. Every state had a G20 working event, and the engagement groups took it even further. The Civil 20 took the Jan Bhagidari and took activities to 45 lakh people across the country, largely India, but some abroad as well. The Y20, I see Aniket somewhere here. He was part of a Y20 program that happened here in Manipal. So Y20 reached through more than 1,500 events, reached more than 1.5 lakh young students, young people like you and me probably as well. Although Venu Madhav disagrees. And even the G20 events, it went to more than 1.3 lakh people, over 60 events held in 300 events held in 60 different cities. And what this actually does is, it speaks volumes about taking the leadership to the grassroots and creating the true essence of participatory governance, because your voice is really heard. Now, so you can see some of the activities, everything from beach cleanup drives to mock G20s to cyclothons to some lake reclamation. These activities where people participated were used as platforms to talk about the G20 and what it means for the country going forward. Now, we talk about gamification and monthly active users and all of that in app development and enterprise development. Just think about the gamification or the engagement, community engagement in community development. What happened? Just before the G20 working group meeting for education in Pune and Bhubaneswar, two of them happened. In my ministry, I work for the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. We were engaged, we were districts competing against each other on who engages the higher number of people in Jan Bhagidari activities and conducts more number of Jan Bhagidari activities. So states and districts competed against each other. This for me was gamification and active users in a different sense that I had not seen out while talking about while working in the corporate or while working in college. So this was Jan Bhagidari. These are some of the photographs, a little bit of self-promotion here of the activities that I sort of participated in. The gentleman over there that we are all intently listening to is the Su Sherpa of the C20, the Civil Society 20, which is a grouping of civil society organizations talking for community development. We had something on Seva, philanthropy and the future of giving. We had a working group on participatory governance under Seva. Manipal also hosted a W20 and T20 also, and Y20 of course over the presidency. And see, Manipal is a big university town, so Manipal naturally would attract some attention. But these G20 engagement groups have even gone to places like Mudbidri or Ramnagara or Karwar as well. And that is not something where big government forums happen except for during elections. So I think this was a testament to all of that. Then I just talked about the numbers. Now the New Delhi Leaders Declaration. Now this is the yardstick with which every presidency is measured, and this is drafted and signed by all the members at the end of it. Now last year in Bali, the leaders could not come to an understanding over the Russia-Ukraine conflict or war, and hence the declaration was not signed by everybody. This year, however, after extensive deliberations, even though the leaders were at an impasse just about 2 weeks before the Delhi summit, At the end, the declaration was passed with a unanimous signature, with a unanimous agreement. And that's a win any day in my books and a testament to the diplomatic prowess of India. It's funny, diplomacy and international relations, India and China, the US and China, we may not see eye to eye on a lot of things, including armaments and borders, but still the Indo-China trade or the US-China trade today is at an all-time high. And the Cold War might have been about the space race, but when it comes to space today, Russia and the US are on the same block, and China is kept out of it. So for economic development or scientific development, there are different blocks compared to military or diplomatic tensions. And that's the charm of it. What are the wins of this presidency as a whole when you really look at it? Of course, the Delhi Declaration is there and there are certain things of it. These are some observations that I have sort of made. First is peace and development. While condemning war as a whole and not taking any explicit sides, the declaration called for a cooperation and understanding to be fostered, ushering an era of peace. This was something everyone agreed on and one that the G20 will firmly push for. After all, the economic after effects of war are just as equally devastating. Recognizing the strength of engagement groups on reaching out to a larger chunk of the population and recognizing enterprise creation as a strong a cornerstone of economic development, the presidency introduced the Startup 20 engagement group, which has had a very successful debut year this year. Incidentally, this year Startup 20 is also going to conduct a startup yatra, which will go to 12 different locations across the country, holding 500 youngsters and show different models of enterprise creation and Indian, like Sir said, frugal innovation or rather crude way of calling it jugaad, how enterprises have been created, built and scaled up in a country like India. And India has a very unique advantage, that is population. Something that's tested in India will work anywhere in the world, right? So that's one addition. One phrase that has been making the rounds through the past year is India is the mother of democracy. Now, one may agree with it or not, but with unique models of local self-governance and the Panchayat Raj system embedded in the values of government in this country, we have been able to hold a strong value focus while speaking to the world. These models of governance, distributed, decentralized governance, are to be the future of public administration for the world that will increase in population and prosperity in the years to come. Also, you might have seen videos of the Japanese premier going gaga over UPI, while doing transactions with the flower seller in Delhi or something, this one. And that is the USP of India to the world. The world today is not bipolar or even multipolar. It's technopolar. And we have expressed our commitment to developing this technology, sharing this technology and creating a global repository for every country to build its growth story on. And the technology tested again with the populations at that of India is very robust and can scale anywhere. SDGs. India has reiterated its commitment to the SDGs, and with Mission Life being a household name today, and launching the Global Biofuels Alliance for clean energy and climate financing for clean energy through MDBs. The SDGs are a very strong element of the Delhi Declaration as well. Agriculture was another key topic. This year was also the International Year of Millets, also stewarded by India, and the Millet and Other Grains Research Initiative, International Research Initiative, was put forth by India to promote and mainstream millets and other superfoods to take care of food security. The war's effect on the global food supply chain has also been immense, and a call for action to address that has been taken as well. India also called for a global financial reform with multilateral development banks to look at what really works for the global south and the instruments that they really need and to act accordingly. India, the Middle East and Europe have also committed to build an economic corridor and overcome all obstacles that hinder free trade. Another action that made headlines was the inclusion of the African Union into the G20. India has effectively brought another 54 countries and thereby another 20% of global population into the G20. Most of these are so-called third world countries. Again, it's interesting how they became third world. after the end of World War II, when most of these countries just gained independence, the First World War were US and its allies, the Second World was Russia and its allies. These countries did not want to join the first bloc because they were essentially colonizers, and second bloc because, well, they are reservations against communism. So they became third world countries, us included, and so they remain even today. Global South is more accepted word today, and because I want to be politically correct, that's what I'll use. They can learn from the development trajectory of India, and it is going to be a model for the countries of the Global South. With the inclusion of the African Union, the involvement of the highest number of people in the history of the G20, making a strong commitment to the future and taking the G20 to every state in this country, India is about to draw curtains on a truly historic presidency that has more than lived up to its theme, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future. And I am excited to see where we go from here. That's my time, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to me speak. Jai Hind.
Dr. Chennai, can I request you to give memento to the last speaker, please? Thank you. So, on a very lighter note, the sequencing of the speakers are such that each and everyone is a stalwart in their own right. Everybody is coming here with salt and pepperish hair and, giving you all these pearls of wisdom. And then comes Mr. Navneet, and he begins with apprehension because of all the things I just said. Now, here is a guy, after all the Buddhas that have come, a young guy with jet black hair and the most decibel levels. Thank you so much for your contribution to iTALK today. I learned a lot today. Glad to see that whatever India is doing, it is going back to the scriptures in some ways. The focus on sustainability, I like the thing you talked about millets. That's very important because water conservation and sustainability is very important in the days forward.
Also, the Millet Alliance is called Maharishi.
See? So it's all music to my ears that we are going back to the scriptures. There is a lot to be learned here. So I'm hoping there is sustainability, and I'm hoping that success follows. Thank you so much for your time. So let's move on to our next guest, Dr. Rachana Bhatt. She is an alumnus of KMC Manipal and has pursued her post-graduation in Emergency Medicine IMS, New Delhi. She is currently an assistant professor in the Department of Emergency Medicine at KMC Manipal. She was the best outgoing lady medical graduate of her batch and was awarded the American College of Emergency Physicians Unconventional Global Leadership Award in 2020. She was a member of Indian Youth Delegation through the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports to the 19th World's Festival of Youth and Students held at Sochi, Russia, which was attended by around 20,000 delegates from over 180 countries. She was selected as one of the 12 speakers to the present discussions of President of Russian Federation, Mr. Vladimir Putin. She has been a part of Emergency Medical Human Resources Project for Disaster Medicine training at Osaka, Japan, and also the recipient of Royal College of Emergency Physician Sponsorship Award for presentation at the annual scientific conference in 2021. She is keenly interested in quality improvement and has worked with WHO Zero Project in capacity building program for trauma care system development for the state of Rajasthan. Dr. Rachana has keen interest in developing low-resource sustainable emergency care at various levels. She has previously worked at District Hospital Udupi and has established the Center for SAVE, Sustainable, Affordable, Value-Based Solutions in Emergency Care under MAHE. Dr. Rachana, please.
Thank you very much. Before proceeding further, what are the thoughts in the room regarding this question right now? How many of you feel true? Yes. Okay. I see, okay, few half hands and few full hands. I hope I can change that statistic by the end of next 8 minutes. Okay. So I would like to go back and start the story from my residency. I was fortunate to be one of the first few batches of emergency medicine at this Apex Institute. And the good part about that was we were trained not only in patient care, but also to understand about holistic healthcare system. So a lot of what I'm going to speak today is the result of the seeds of vision sown by my gurus there. So acknowledging their contribution, I proceed further. So AIIMS New Delhi is one of the busiest emergency departments in the country, where we get about 400 to 900 patients in emergency alone per day. So if you go by the actual definition of disaster, yeah, the resources are overwhelmed almost on a daily basis. So what happens is when you start working as a young doctor in this particular system, say by around 6 months to 1 year, you're in that ignorant phase, and then you start saving lives in spite of all challenges. There is a phase where you feel you know everything, you've seen it all, you know it all. And it was at that time when my, terminologies, which pushed me through the slope of that Dunning-Kruger curve, which you keep seeing these days. Oh, there is a lot more which I probably don't know. And these two beautiful terminologies, where one of it was quality improvement and second is ergonomics. And these two terminologies have had a very major impact on me, not just my professional life, but also a lot of my personal life as well. So just to give a brief introduction about what exactly these two terms are. So quality, we might be hearing quality multiple times in our university. We have NAC accreditation, NABH, XYZ, so many key performance indicators, metrics to be submitted. So that is not what quality improvement is. Okay, so quality improvement is that implementation sign. Like quality assurance, what we speak about, tells us what needs to be done. And quality improvement is looking into it and actually getting it done. So it's that implementation science. Okay, and the key words here it is that it's self-driven, it's non-punitive, and the motivation is purely internal. And it all starts with a very humble thought of accepting that there are gaps, accepting that there are fallacies, and accepting that there is a scope for improvement. And then obviously there is a cycle of science which goes on where you identify, you analyze, then you test various ideas and then see what works, what doesn't work, etc. Ergonomics, obviously there are much more people who would know what this is over here. But just to introduce, ergonomics is work science where you try to design the environment to extract best efficiency from the person working there. So rather than the general tendency is like adjust karo and asking the person who's working there to get adjusted to the environment, you adjust the surroundings to actually extract the best efficiency from the employee who's working there. So again, a very beautiful term, and if you understand the depth of it, it's something which can help you in various fronts. So it is at this time, I realized that I was actually a very small minuscule in this entire healthcare universe or healthcare ecosystem. And there is a host of other things which actually has a major part in saving lives. So next is a series of stories where I would link to a lot of things or a lot of other branches which actually pitch in. We'll see how many we can cover in the given time frame. I think I'll need an alert 1 minute before I need to stop. Okay, so first story is what's causing delay in ECG. ECG is a test which we do for patients with chest pain to identify if there's a heart attack or not. So as per all the universal standards, the requirement is that when a patient with chest pain comes to the emergency department, the ECG needs to be done within 10 minutes. That is, door to ECG time should be at least 10 minutes. So we were all in this utopic word that, no, ours is the best institute, it's happening all the time. But then came, okay, let's just actually measure and see whether it's happening or not. And we saw that the least time ECG was taking in our hospital was 12 minutes. That is the least time. And maximum time sometimes went to 25-30 minutes. And can anyone guess what was causing this delay? Any guesses? Okay, processes, but it was taking us at least 7 minutes to shift that patient from the door to our resuscitation area amidst those crowded corridors of that emergency department. So this is where I tell that healthcare architecture is one of the probably, it's good that it's improving these days, but if you go to most of the institutes, most of the established emergency departments, including some of the best corporate hospitals, healthcare architecture is not given heed to. So it's usually the buildings are built and things are just put in place. But architecture is something which can actually save a lot of time when we actually go to manage these patients. So yeah, if you're a good architect, you can do contribute to saving lives. And for a patient with a major heart attack, probably every minute of these 7 minutes would mean life or death if there's a delay in intervention. So let's move on to the second story. So second story is, this was when I was working in Manipal. We had a 30-year-old patient who was brought after a history of fall from height, and he was being transferred from Kundapur. So when we examined him in our emergency department, he was not able to move any of his limbs, hands or legs. And when we probed further, he told just to some distance before coming to Manipal, he was able to move. And then he couldn't move. Okay? So those are the stories. A bad hump on the road or an ambulance vehicle suspension which is bad. So what happens is when there is an injury to the backbone, all the nerves of our hands, legs, breathing muscles, everything go through that. And when there's a fracture, we tell the patients do not move or do not move the back. So even when we transfer, we have a board, we have a collar placed. So any injury there and there is a sudden jerky movement might mean that the patient is paralyzed for life. So in fact, when I was working with the WHO CRO on the Rajasthan project, one of the important part of our team for preventing trauma-related deaths was the road safety cell. The design of the road, where the signages are put, and all of this can have a major impact on how actually the outcome of an RTA could be. So again, this is the department of probably civil, mechanical. They can have a major impact on saving lives. Third story is a rather sad story. This happened when I came to Manipal and went back to AIIMS to work during the second wave of COVID. And in Delhi, this was quite horrendous. We would walk into our shifts with around 10 to 15 dead bodies lying in the corridor, waiting to get shifted. In terms of resources, everything was overwhelmed. We were less number of people, ventilators attached everywhere, oxygen ports were being split and used. So after a while, when things seem settled, suddenly you see that 7 to 8 patients suddenly they collapse suddenly, the ventilator stops working, and oxygen levels go down. So with whatever team we have, we go with our backup oxygen cylinders, try to somehow get control of the situation and save. And this happened probably twice or thrice. Our keynote speaker, Joshi sir, mentioned, initially we felt it's destiny of those patients. You work everything, the outcome is not there. Karm karo, phal ki ichha mat karo. But when we analyzed and went to the root cause of this problem, we realized that the problem was that the pressure in the oxygen lines were going down. Yes, I'll stop with this story and then we'll discuss few snippets about other things. So what was happening, this is probably, if I have to put it like a problem which you get in your entrance exam in 11th or 12th. So what is the minimum number of ventilators which you can attach in series without causing that critical drop in pressure in the oxygen lines? What happens when hospitals are constructed is, you have a ward constructed with oxygen lines everywhere, and most of the times all these ports are not in use. Or even if patients are put on oxygen over there, it is probably at 5 to 6 liters per minute of oxygen. And when you attach a ventilator in the same port, it draws at least 100 to 150 liters per minute. And then you have all these ports, and suddenly a pandemic comes and you're using all the oxygen ports for ventilators. So this problem is, I think it's fluid dynamics. Again, probably not medicine. And probably this understanding could have helped in saving lives. So I have more stories. Biomedical is something which we keep working with. Boot up time of USG machine can help in saving lives. So when we get an accident case, and one of the causes which can immediately cause death is fluid collection around the heart. So the only way which we can pick up in such condition is with an ultrasound. And this happens in terms of minutes. Imagine we have an ultrasound machine where the boot up time is 2 minutes. You don't have that opportunity at all. So it's not just that. Supply chain. You're on a shift at 3 a.m. There's an accident of a bus. 40 students walk in. You don't know how the supply chain is going to work. You are sorting out so many other things, including hospital registration, speaking to them. This actually happened. We had a school bus from Andhra going for a school trip, which had an accident near Kundapur, and all of them came here. None of the boys speak the local language here. So it's not just that. Probably coming up with low-cost, innovative solutions, finance, CSR. A lot of thought and passion might go into giving CSR products, to the hospital. But this was when I worked in the district hospital, I realized that they got a lot of high-flow oxygen devices, which was not used, which was put there. But the same device in a different setup would mean gold. We could make much more use of it. So probably the initiative should come from the grassroots as to where the fund should exactly go, where it's needed. WhatsApp has saved a lot of lives. A remote district in Himachal, they had a lot of problem with expertise. Since WhatsApp came, ECGs are being sent to an expert at tele center, and then it's interpreted and treatment is given there. For them to actually reach the hospital with whatever means available, it would take 6 to 8 hours. AI can reduce a lot of cognitive overload for doctors, probably reduce a lot of human errors, which is there. And obviously, like everyone speaks, we also are working on climate change, green need initiatives, etc. So these are few, I've already spoken about it. Since we have less time, we'll go. So the crux of this comes that whenever we speak about quality improvement, one of the important part of that process is change ideas or finding solutions. So when you actually find solutions, you can categorize them into 3 things: people, process, and systems. To take a small analogy, like if the problem is of traffic jam, so you can educate people to follow traffic rules, you can educate people to not just jet their vehicle amidst when it's crowded. So this is a people-related change. You know it's very cumbersome, you have to keep doing it. There are new crop of people who come in, new people need to be educated. So these are people. Sad part is most of our changes we go by people. We go training. Most of the times. Educate, provide knowledge, training. And then there is something called process changes. Like for example, you introduce a traffic light system, but then there are still few people who may not follow or may try to jump the signal. And then there is a system-related change, where the scope for human errors are minimized to the ebb. So most of the system changes which happen in healthcare are not usually initiated by doctors. It's by all of these other things, some things I spoke about. So when a doctor can probably contribute to saving one life at a time, probably all these other allied branches with a smart solution may contribute to saving multiple lives over a period of time. So next time you come to the hospital, you might see hundreds of problems. You might get irritated that there's a delay, you might not have place to sit, or your bed was uncomfortable. So rather than probably thinking of them as problems, see if you can probably contribute in terms of solutions. And if you want to connect and contribute, we are always happy to collaborate. This is the Center for SAFE, for Sustainable, Affordable, Value-Based Emergency Care Solutions. Thank you so much. Thank you, IBAT, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Dr. Sinai, can I please request you to do the next? Dr. Maxine and I were having this discussion before the program started about how important the Guru Sishya Parampara is. It's a bond that, takes humanity forward. And I'm having goosebumps as I'm telling this to you. It was so refreshing that you began your talk thanking your gurus. That very rarely it happens. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you for that informative talk that you just gave. And I have a master's in ergonomics, so I'm just one small factor that I would like to give you. I will not waste too much time. You fix a man to the job, or you fix the job to the man. Think of that from that perspective also, something to think about. All right, let's move on to the next speaker, Sripati Ranga Bhatta. Some people are blessed to be adept and versatile, to be able to integrate a rich tapestry of experience in arts, academia, as well as the corporate worlds. Sripati Ranga Bhatta is one of them. Armed with an MBA in finance, he has spent a decade contributing significantly to various domains of business management and finance. His roles have ranged from assistant professor at Srinivas University, Mangalore, to senior executive at Ascent Telecom Infrastructure Private Limited. He uniquely and successfully merges comprehensive knowledge management with strategic initiatives very seamlessly. Beyond the realm of finance and academia, Sripati is also a passionate singer and has serenaded audiences on various platforms with his Carnatic classical music and singing. Currently, he is navigating through the intricate world of e-commerce and supply chain management in his PhD pursuit at Manipal Institute of Technology. With keen observational eye and a distinct knack for analyzing emerging trends, Sripati perpetually situates himself at the forefront of innovation within his field. His linguistic versatility, coupled with his interest in travel and music, crafts him into a well-rounded individual and a speaker. He is ready to captivate audiences with his multifaceted experiences and insights. Sripati, looking forward to hearing from you.
A very good afternoon to everyone. If we can just connect to with, what Dr. Rachana was, pointing as a solution, the systemic part, the change part, where my topic or the topic which I'm trying to share with you also has a pivotal role, I believe. To begin with, very much familiar pictures. Why am I having it here? Just to, get the meaning of what I want to share. One which talks about, both talks about the same thing. One in a most, if I can use unappealing way, only for the sake of it, for the government. If you can clearly read it, for the government is what it is written. The other thing has better reason to remember. What is it? That's exactly what I'm going to share now about. The nudge. An approach that seeks to alter human behavior in a predictable manner by engineering an environment that gently pushes people towards a certain goal. Here, people are given with an ambience or circumstance, or things around them are engineered in such a way that they mostly unconsciously they tend to show a behavior which is exactly the objective of that creation of ambience, the nudging. Talking about the background, we have this people, Taylor and Sustain, who have authored the book called Nudge, where they have postulated that the idea that people can be nudged to make the right choice without pressurizing them or restricting their freedom of choice. Wherein we have authors like Daniel Kahneman, who have explained in their book titled Thinking Fast and Slow, have articulated two types of cognitive models, System 1 and System 2. Basically, they are nothing but System 1, which is responsible for the quick and unconscious or very easy or not so rational type of decisions which people take, and System 2, which is more rational, time-taking, analytical in nature, where the decision takes place. So, dissecting the decision architecture. Wherein this nudging talks about more about the first part, System 1, wherein quick decisions can be rooted the way people want the outcomes, the way they want the outcomes. Just to give a distinction between what management and how nudging is different, management usually involves a directive or an action that compels someone to alter in the direction that the authority demands. Wherein here, in nudging, people are given complete freedom to choose, but they are gently pushed so that the outcome is as desired, completely retaining the freedom of decision making with them. Just to quickly take you through everybody's routine, if you start your day, the nudging starts with the very beginning of alarm, okay? And the gentle sound, which is increasing gradually, is also a nudge to start your day with a good mood. Moving on in your washroom, or maybe toothbrush, which gave you a lot of promises like advanced whitening or cavity protection. This all affirms you that you have taken a good decision. That's again a nudge. And the shampoo, the ease with which it outflows, making it more consumable, is also a type of nudge we are normally we normally come across. After that, if you see people who pray, there are also some part of nudging wherein the very placement of things which we use for worship, or when we come across, we end up following the routine. After that, in breakfast also, the placement of things which we normally consume, the way if they are kept, it also is a nudge for you. When you go to office, again, you have multiple nudgings across your route. It could be a mobile phone ad or a travel plan which is given to you or on your face on your route. In office time also, placement of water disposal it could be, or tea vending machine. It's all the proper placement is a nudge to take quick breaks and have a chit chat with your colleagues. Lunchtime also, there are many nudges which happens in your cafeteria, including peer conversation leading to many purchase decision. Also, of post-lunch, the snack time, the aromatic, vehicle, or maybe the again canteen, bombarding with the aromatic things in cuisine is also a nudge to you to have regular snacks. Post back to your home, if you go, again, nudging doesn't leave you alone. In grocery shop, whenever you go for shopping, there are placements of items inside the grocery stores and exciting offers, which also is nudging you in plenty of ways. Again, back home, after settling down, coming back from office, the very living room is an enticing or nudging for you to watch family shows in TV, and in between ad also nudges you to go for maybe a food ordering or things like that, which is induced during your watch of TV. Settling down for a peaceful sleep. Before that, as all of us have habit of scrolling through our mobiles, again, lot of nudges to go through stories or reels or some updates or things like that. And post which, if you are D&D, which will keep you peaceful sleep. And finally, with the ambience, it's all part of nudge in day-to-day life. Now, why do people concentrate? This is just an observation, an effort to make you how we, without realizing that this is this, we are exposed to this. So there can be multiple reasons or purposes for which people do this. To summarize this, one could be to facilitate. When we say facilitate, it is, concentrating or, exploring that simplicity people would like to have when they want to make a choice. Example could be a simple drop-down option or a tick mark which is given by default to you whenever you're transacting in online transactions. Or there are some countries, especially European countries, wherein in hospitals organ donation is a by default opt-in option. Unless you are specifically opting out, your membership is counted for organ donation, which has led to phenomenal results of increase in organ donation community. Strategic placement of fruits and salads in your food outlets is also another way of facilitating your nudge, so that you don't need to choose with great difficulty. It is easily displayed, you select something from it. Highlighting the profitable dishes when you go through the menu is also a nudge which normally people entertain in hotel when they are showing you the menu. And of course, free samples, try a bite, all these things are frequently being used to nudge, which is all part of facilitating. Coming back to the next one is confronting. When you say confronting, using the fear of regret to make people pause and think more carefully about their choices. Okay, so it could be something like, giving a delay deliberately in the escalator or maybe the lift. Lift is normally slow in our institution. It can be a deliberate act, but at the same time, it can also be a nudging to those to think, if it is first floor or second floor, why can't we just walk? It will take a lot of time. That's also a nudge, which is a confrontational type. Alcohol sale restricted on certain days of week or times is also a confrontational nudge. Strategic speed bumps in parking lots is also a type of nudge to be calm and quiet when you park in a designated place, not to rush and create damages. The next variety is to deceive. We may also need to engage in this deceit activity. When we talk about deceit, manipulating the perception to guide decisions towards a specific desired outcome. When we say that, it could be in terms of examples. If you see online tickets with low fare in upfront, and if you reach the payment stage, you will have all unavoidable cost mounting to more than thought amount. That's again a manipulative nudge you can come across. Stores placing their own brands in a pivotal place in the first area where you get into the store, you're shown all their own brand products first, so that once you select almost all products that you wanted to shop, then comes the place wherein you will find other brands. This is also a type of manipulative nudge. Fake surveillance. Many a time you can find the billboard or maybe poster saying that you are under surveillance. You may not find actually in many places a working CCTV at all, but that is enough for nudging, which is manipulative but yet important and useful. Elusive speed bumps also can help drivers to slow down and indulge in peaceful driving. Again, one more familiar thing which is kind of deceitful nudge is, which most of us perhaps are familiar. Whenever you are given a task to portray your performance, we tend to show the graph which will highlight our performance the most. So which is nothing but a beautiful type of nudging. Next, the fear. Evoking fear, loss or uncertainty to channel decisions is another type or the purpose for which people end up using the nudge, like flash sales or maybe early bird entry or even last 2 seats left, please book early, limited edition products. All these will be a kind of fearful attempt or attempts to make the user feel fearful. Last but one is reinforce, highlighting specific actions to make us more likely to choose them. Could be like the fitness trackers or app that we normally have, loyalty program compelling us to use their services again and again, or customer reviews saying that 2K people have ordered this today. So this reinforcement will end up making us go with that decision. And there was one beautiful reinforcement message which is popular in Google image, which I come across is, like there was this public place in somewhere in foreign country, there is this waste disposal bins kept strategically, wherein they are asking who is the best player. One option with the bin is Lionel Messi, the other option is Cristiano Ronaldo, and they are asking you to poll by dropping the cigarette butts. So people who are passionate will end up contributing that, which also invariably contribute to the sustainability and cleaner environment also. So talking about the last one is social influence, guiding out actions by showing what others are doing. You are nudged by highlighting others' performance or others' activities, such as hotel towel reuse advocacies. Okay, then there is also this story which Sir has shared, which I remember as the US poll where women population who come to vote were very less. It was almost something close to 20 to 25%. So it is told in one cycle that 75% of women are not voting, thinking that they will realize and come back. It never happened. But next cycle when it happened, people have nudged it in such a way that 25% women have started coming to this League of Voters. It has had an impact. So how others are doing is also a nudge. Similarly, 9 out of 10 people contribute to this charity is a board. So you also tend to contribute by automatic means. Most popular dish in this restaurant is this. So that also is a type of reinforcement, social influence nudge. Then the beautiful thing which I again came across in one of WhatsApp shares was an ad wherein traffic signals, how it was managed. It was a place wherein all came to red light signal place, wherein a couple of people or one person was not wearing helmet. There was this traffic signal which was kind of not the simple light, but a display type of traffic signal. So it identifies the face without a helmet and shows that in the screen, saying that except for this person showing this, all others have green signal. So that person automatically end up putting the helmet and automatically you also have green signal. This is one classic example wherein the social influence can also be the purpose of nudging. quickly to take you through when can this go wrong. There are possibilities that when people misunderstand audience, or when there are a couple of habits which no matter what push people give from external things, it will never change. There are such aspects also. Cultural barriers, not being able to compete with each other, or you have this perceived manipulation. You are part of some nudge which you regret, cognitive dissonance. Then mixed messages. When you give the nudging, you are contradicting yourself, which doesn't reach the target. So these are the ways in which it can go wrong. If you're planning a nudge, these essential steps invariably have to be attended. Define the purpose and result that you want to achieve. Explore the option to design different nudges. Design different alternatives. Select one based on pre-test or pilot study. Choose that, implement it, evaluate, and continue. So with this, I would also try to recollect this fact in statistics which I came across in a paper related to nudge, that it is told that human decisions, almost 95% are based on the system 1 type of thing, which is spontaneous, without much rational. So the whole purpose of what I thought is important to share is whether you want to be in that 95% who are always getting nudged, or you want to be in the other 5%. Thank you.
Dr. Chennai, may I request you to please give the memento to our last speaker? So we come to the fag end of our session today, coming to our last speaker, Venu Madhav Bhatt. There are many voices on creativity, how to be creative, the creative process itself. The creative process is one of humanity's most complex yet beautiful parts. Creativity is messy, frustrating, enjoyable, and different for everyone. It's a natural part of human expression that we should all value and cultivate. We can draw inspiration from them as well as look at careers and achievements. Our next guest, Venu Madhav Bhatt, is a theatre artist and a filmmaker based out of Bengaluru. Over the past decade, he has worked on as an actor, writer, director, and production manager in the industry. As an actor, he is known for playing Swami in Hostel Huduguru Bekagidre, and as the antagonist of #Mute against Archana Joyce of KGF fame. He also co-wrote the screenplay and dialogues for the latter film. In theatre, he has directed plays in Kannada, and recently he directed Harold Pinter's The Caretaker. He has only one passionate personal purpose in life: marenge to ganda jokes maar ke marenge. And that's why he only cracks eggs in the kitchen and bad jokes in the rest of the world. Venu Madhav, please.
Am I audible? Thank you. Thanks, Navneet, for coming in with your jet black hair and youthful enthusiasm. That compliment from sir really did not make me jealous. Okay. So, ma'am. Should I just click? Okay. Okay. So, big thanks to Dasharath Shetti sir for giving this opportunity to me. See, nepotism only works in the cinema industry, and I got to be here on my merit, okay, sheer hard work and perseverance. Not because I am his friend, student, ex-employee, well-wisher, or fellow oxygen inhaler, nothing like that. I'm here because of my networking skills. Okay, that's all. Hello everyone. Morning to all. I'm not going to say good morning because I'm going to crack one of my worst jokes to you. Okay. Because if I'm going to confess to my jokes, then I might as well set a really low bar and then go down from there, right? Why come up? So the first joke is that once a school teacher was taking attendance, and one of the students curiously stood up and asked, "Sir, you're so tall. What's your height?" The teacher just casually said, 6 feet. Another student got up curiously and said, "But sir, you have only 2 feet. How can you be 6 feet?" Is everyone's tube light lit, or are there any starter problems still? My name is Venu Madhav Bhatt Manjeshwar, and I'm as tall as my jokes. 6 feet, full of bad jokes and a terrible sense of humor. Today I'm here to talk about bad jokes to you. And the one that I told you just now was a bad joke that I tested on school children when I taught theatre in Bangalore. That joke became a part of my tools as a school teacher, because now I was the funny and cool teacher. So all students listened to me, and at the end of the class we could make really, really bad jokes. So one of the bad jokes that came from one of the students was that a man was screaming one day, "I'm human, I'm human, I'm human." A person went to him and asked, "Why are you screaming? I'm human, I'm human, I'm human." So he said, "Everybody is asking me, are you well? Are you well?" Do you guys need more time? I can give it to you. I'll wait here. I have a lot of weight, as you can see. No? Okay, good. Cool. So jokes like this is what encouraged them to come up with their own jokes. So, everybody got the joke, na? Good. So, see, personally, I am a storyteller. Okay. Professionally, I am a filmmaker and theatre maker. But passionately, deep down, in my core, I am just a joker. Okay. Communicating in stories earns me my idli and chutney. But jokes, good or bad, are my tools to achieve efficient exchange of information and ideas between minds in an entertaining manner. When I had gone to Bangalore as an assistant director on a movie, the movie did not have a proper screenwriter. I was interested in screenwriting, and I stepped up to do the job. As an audition, I wrote a scene. Now imagine this: a man is dangling upside down with his head towards the ground and legs towards the sky. The villain presses a button and starts lowering the man down. There's a machine below where the villain is pouring cement and concrete. Meanwhile, the upside man is slowly coming down. His head drowns into the concrete mix. His body starts trembling violently, asphyxiated by the cement, unable to breathe. And then the villain removes the cloth from the victim's mouth, and the concrete starts pouring into his mouth. The man gurgles his last breath and dies. The police are alerted of the death. There's a senior female officer and a junior officer. The junior officer doesn't like the senior officer. So he goes to her, looks in her eyes dead seriously and says, "Ma'am, it's murder. The evidence is concrete." That was the first scene that I ever wrote for a cinema. And now I have a movie credited to my name as a screenwriter in the Kannada film industry. It was all possible because I had the habit of making bad jokes. Wait, let me find where the joke is. Bad jokes. And one of the things that it taught me was listening and observation. Because you never know when the next bad joke is going to hit you, right? Thank you. So, I mean, one best example for that is I was recently having an argument with a friend of mine. And I told her, "I am like this only. You tolerate me." And she said 4.5. And I was like, "Why are you blabbering a random number?" So she's like, "You only told me to tolerate you. So I'm rating how tall you are." I was flabbergasted. But if she hadn't made that joke, I wouldn't have been able to crack that bad joke in front of you and bring down the intelligence quotient of the room by a few points. Another thing I learned from bad jokes is that it's okay to crack a bad joke once in a while. It's fine to be the bad joke once in a while also. But always read the room. You might not know where the next joke might be coming from, but you also do not know where the next punch is going to land on your face. To illustrate this, I'll tell you a story. Once after finishing my classes, I was walking on the corridor and there was an 8th standard student that was coming from the other side, and she's this like really rude person. Okay, I was nice to her. I asked her, have you had lunch? And being the rude idiot she is, she asked me, why do you want to know? It was afternoon, I was hungry and I was pissed off. So I told her, if you want to talk, talk nicely, otherwise don't waste the oxygen by exercising your vocal cords. Just shut up. I know I was harsh, but some kids deserve it because they are the personification of the word headache. Okay? The moment I told her that reply, she became guilty. She flinched and said, gobi ka paratha with dahi and achar. So I told her, see, if you had given me this answer before, I wouldn't have had to be harsh on you. Be nice to others. Bye. And I left. It's just that I didn't notice that she was ready for revenge like Rekha from Khoon Bari Mang. I was going downwards. She started running and yelled from the bottom of her toes, "Don't drink and drive, sir!" She screamed that at such a decibel that it made everyone's eardrums in the building go dhum ta-na-na-na-na, dhum ta-na-na-na-na. The problem with that was, the moment I got down, the first thing I saw was an angry old Hindi teacher staring directly at me, like I did something. Like, sorry, I was Vijay Mallya and she's an SBI employee, man. Why? So, me being me, I am, in this situation, I was a dumb idiot. What I did is, there was a water cooler nearby. I went to the water cooler, started drinking water. She looked at me and asked cutely in Hindi, "Aap sirf pani pee ke hi gaadi chala rahe ho na?" And me being me, I replied, "Sorry ma'am, isme whiskey milana baki hai." The outcome of that was, next day at the principal office, I had to spend 2 hours explaining to her that it was just a joke. In the staff room also I had to explain. The teachers keep on asking you, "What did you do? Which student you went to drink with?" Why would I go and drink with a student, dude? The worst are the students themselves, because they came and asked me random things. The first one was, "Sir, if you are drinking in our area, please tell us. We'll also join in." The other student was, "Sir, do you need 90 or 180 to pass out for the night? Practical doubt, sir." And that's when I realized you really need to read the room before you do a bad joke. Otherwise, you are going to waste your own valuable time, or you are going to offend people unnecessarily, and that's not something you want, because it's just waste of time, waste of mental peace. Now, through the journey, I also learned that tolerance is love. The ability to tolerate someone completely as they are and as they are changing without ourselves trying to change them one bit, that for me is love, ladies and gentlemen. This for the last joke, and this for the last joke. I forgot to push the slide. Okay, this is people's reaction when I'm breathing. See, if you are like me and like to make bad jokes, then you know people are tolerating you. They can stop your breathing at any given time, but they don't, because they love you just the way everyone loves me. You think I'm alive here today because I'm healthy or I'm breathing or my heart is beating? No, it's because Dashrath sir, where is he? Yeah, him. Dashrath sir one day just told himself, "Let Venu Madhav waste some more oxygen on this planet. Today he need not die. Today I don't need murder on my hands." That's all. See, I think the first person who I think loved me the way I completely am is my mother, because she has tolerated me the most, both inside and outside. When I was in college one day, I went and asked her nicely, Mom, how do you tell a dog to open the door? She took a big breath, put on a smile on her face, looked at me and asked, how? I replied, Labrador, open please. After listening to that reply, she closed her eyes completely, took a huge breath, opened her eyes, smiled from ear to ear and said, if only I had slept off that night, this blunder wouldn't have happened. Enjoy breathing until it lasts. Cheers. And that, people, is how I realized I am loved abundantly and unconditionally. That's it, everyone. That has been my confession as a poor joke maker. I hope you had a bad time listening to my bad jokes. Thank you very much. And thank you, Navit Ganesh, sir, for this opportunity. These are the people with their mistake and blunders. Thank you, and don't forget to exhale, ladies and gentlemen.
In the interest of making somebody else jealous, I'll have to compliment your beard. Nicely done. Nicely done. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today and extend a heartfelt vote of thanks on behalf of Department of Commerce, Manipal Mahe, and Indian Bureau of Administrators. First and foremost, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to Commander Dr. Anil Rana, Director of Manipal Institute of Technology, for inaugurating iTALK second edition and setting the tone with his inaugural lecture. We are also immensely grateful to Dr. Prabhakar Joshi, our esteemed Rajotsava Award recipient, for gracing us with his keynote address. I'm sorry, I'm not used to reading on a phone. A special mention to our diverse group of speakers who have enlightened us today. Dr. Rahul Magzine, Dr. Manish Thomas, Dr. Rachna, Dr. Navit Ganesh, Mr. Sripati R. Bhatt, and Mr. Venumadhav Bhatt. Your insights and experiences have undoubtedly inspired many in the audience. I would also like to thank Dr. Sandeep Shannai, without whose guidance, vision, and support this event would not have been possible. I thank our President, CA Rajaram Shetti, the President of IBAT, for sharing the essence of iTALK and for the commendable initiatives of IBAT. Our heartfelt appreciation goes to our hosts, Dr. Avril Fernandez, for seamlessly guiding us through the event. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge the efforts of the organizing committee members, Mr. Prasad Rao, Dr. Vikram Baliga, Dr. Rita Rani Chopra, Dr. Ambigai Rajendran, and Professor Ravindra Shetty. Your hard work and commitment have made this event a grand success. In conclusion, iTALK serves as a beacon of knowledge and inspiration, and it is through the collective efforts of everyone involved that we have witnessed such a remarkable event today. Thank you all for being part of this journey, and we look forward to many more editions of iTALKs in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being patient listeners. Thank you, sir, for curating the session so well. We will now stand up to our feet and take a group photograph together. So you will all be facing me, and then we'll have Nitya, who's basically from media team. Can we give her a round of applause? She's from our media team, Department of Commerce. Thank you, Nitya. First year BBA student. Yeah. So I think this angle, and then we'll all stand as gallery. Yeah. Can we all stand up to our feet? Yes. The speakers can sit and the rest of us can stand. Yes.